Welcome to the Chris Hatcher Show, presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama. And welcome to another season of Samford football, the first ever spring season and hopefully the last ever spring season. This past Saturday, the Bulldogs traveled up to Johnson City, Tennessee to take on the East Tennessee State Buccaneers and unfortunately came home with a 24-17 loss. I'm your host, Kevin Blackwell, and of course I'm joined by Samford head football coach Chris Hatcher. Coach Hatcher, your thoughts, your initial thoughts about the game. A lot of unknowns going into the season, a lot of coaching turnover, a lot of new faces on the field. Your thoughts?
I thought there were a lot of positives in the game, but it boiled down to a lot of missed opportunities. I thought that early on the game couldn't have started any better for our team. We jump out to a quick 14-point lead, and then things turned south in a hurry for us. A lot of great individual performances. I thought our defense played exceptionally well. We made a lot of miscues in the special teams. That is something that we're not accustomed to. We're used to being pretty solid in that area. And then offensively, we just couldn't make the play that we needed to get over the hump. So. But I am proud of the effort. I'm proud of the way our guys have conducted themselves during these COVID months. But we have a lot to work on, and we're excited about getting ready for this next ball game.
Dakota Chapman, let's talk about him. He was a great addition, off-season addition, transfer from Jacksonville State, 5 catches in the game. Chris went to him several times. Talk about his play.
Well, he's a guy that it's been hard to try to fit him into our type of scheme because he just brings a skill set that we're not accustomed to having. He's a good pass catcher, he's a tremendous blocker, and he's a very good runner as well. To be a big guy, and he played H-back at Jacksonville State. So we've moved him around a lot. He plays a lot of different positions for us. He's a great special teams player. So we're really excited, and the biggest thing he brings to our team is he's a tremendous leader. And we got to find a way to not overload him. I felt like for game one, we asked him to do too many things because he is kind of a jack of all trades. So we got to pull back on him this week, and we continue to think that he'll be an integral part of our offense and special teams units moving forward.
East Tennessee State drive at the end of the first half for a score. I really felt like that turned the momentum of the game around. I thought we had a fumble there, and the officials turned that call over.
Well, that was a really bad sequence of events there. We had a chance to go in the half 14-0 or 14-3, and during the melee of the fumble that they called a fumble and then they reversed the call. We lost our temper and got an unsportsmanlike penalty. So instead of them being around the 40-yard line, they moved it on down into the red zone area. And made a good run and a couple good plays, and cut a game that should have really been out of hand, in my opinion, at half, turned into a tight game.
Well, a lot of talk in the offseason about who would be our starting quarterback. Of course, you go with Chris Oladokin. Gets the start, finishes 36 for 55 for 231, 1 touchdown, a couple of interceptions. Coach, just too many drop passes. He was pressured all day as well. Gave up 8 sacks. Just talk about Chris's play and just the offense in general.
Well, again, he started out really well, and he had 2 deep balls that he threw that were really good throws that we didn't finish with a catch. And then, but I would like to say I thought that our offensive linemen, having 3 new starters in there playing for the first time, real live snaps, played extremely well. The 8 sacks aren't always on those guys. I thought that Chris made it harder than he needed to at times, but then he made some big plays there. So, we threw an interception early in the game that we should have caught, went through our hands, and they intercepted. And then, late in the game, Chris just trying to make a play. Late we were running out of time. We didn't have many plays left and still needed 30 more yards to go. He's trying to throw the ball away, and it gets tipped up, and they intercept to end the game. Very disappointing game, because I didn't think we played like we're capable of playing. We made a lot of critical errors. Again, I go back on, there's a lot of nuances in football that are very hard to practice, that we spend a lot of time walking through, talking about situational football, and there was 3 particular situations that we did not execute properly. And to me, at the end of the game, that was the difference in coming home with a 7-point defeat than coming home with a 7-point win.
Well, the good thing was the defense played well. This was a great showing for our defense. They looked much improved. They looked fast. They played with a lot of intensity. Good job getting off the field on third down. 5 of 14. They held the Buccaneers third down conversions, stopped them on a critical fourth down conversion. 6 sacks, recovered 2 fumbles, deep in our own territory. Talk about the defense.
Well, I tell you, again, if you talk to Coach Benedetto, he's going to say they could have played a lot better, and we could have. I mean, you can always get better, but they played well enough for us to win the football game. They had their backs against the wall several times due to the turnover and the long punt return. And handled it extremely well. I could not be more pleased with that side of the ball. If they'll continue to improve, we got a chance to have a great defense.
You'd mentioned special teams a moment ago as well. Special teams, we don't talk about them very much until there's some mistakes there, and they can be very critical for the outcome of the game. Talk about that.
Well, we gave up a long punt return. We gave up a little bit more of a kickoff return than we would like. We ran into the the kick returner one time, and then we forgot to move, and we called the cadence on punt, and our snapper hits the up back with the ball. So we took a fair catch early in the game where we shouldn't have. Just a lot of miscues, but the good thing is they're all correctable miscues, and we do need to clean that area up a great deal, and that's going to be a point of emphasis this week, just like it was last week.
Can you give us a quick update, Coach, on Chandler Smith? We saw his injury there in the fourth quarter, and he was having a really good game. What's the latest on Chandler?
Well, it's very unfortunate because he's one of our go-to receivers. He's really established himself over this COVID period as a guy that we felt like could be a big-time playmaker for us. And for him to go down in the game with a very tough injury to his arm is a devastating blow to our depth chart. But more so for him. I mean, he's worked extremely hard. He's a former walk-on, earned a scholarship to get to the point where he's a starter and to go out the first game. But before this show, we got great news. As of right now, it's not going to require surgery. He will be out the entire spring season, and we hope he'll be back better than ever come the fall season.
That is excellent news. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that we saw Montrell Washington wearing a different jersey this season. Talk about him being awarded the Charles Williams Memorial jersey.
Well, of course, that goes to the guy on our team that represents what being a Samford football player is all about, and all areas of life, physically, mentally, spiritually, and socially. And he's a tremendous player, All-American, but back in the fall he was awarded that jersey. Before I got here, the coaches, we voted on it the first year I was here. That's the way it was done, and I made that, I changed it to let the players vote on that jersey. So when your peers vote you the number 5, to me it makes it a little more special. And he's a fine young man. He's gone through a lot. And by being a Samford football player and going to this fine university is going to put himself in a position to do some great things, hopefully in the NFL, but just in life in general.
Yeah. Talk about our opponent, Western Carolina. What are you seeing on film?
I don't know a whole lot about them. I mean, they just played one game, and I think they do a lot of different things offensively, and they have some dynamic playmakers, and defensively. Their defensive coordinator is an old friend of mine. This is his first year there, and he's very multiple in what he does. So I think it's like any other week, Kevin. As far as Southern Conference football is always a battle, and we need to be focused on what we're doing and improve from last week. And if we do that, we'll be just fine.
Well, fans, there's still an opportunity for you to get your ticket for this Saturday's home opener against Western Carolina. Go to SamfordSports.com. You can get you a ticket there. If you can't make it, the game will be televised on ESPN Plus at noon. But we do hope to see you at Cyber Stadium on Saturday. Coach, thank you again for being a part of this show with us this week.
I appreciate you, man. It's been a long time, so hopefully next week we have a lot better things to talk about.
And that'll do it for this week's episode of the Chris Hatcher Show, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama.